A woman was found burned almost beyond recognition in a remote valley in Norway, carrying at least 9 different fake identities, with her fingerprints deliberately sanded down, and every single label cut from her clothing with surgical precision. Over 50 years later, nobody knows who she really was, where she came from, or whether she was murdered or died by her own hand. On November 29, 1970, a professor and his 2 young daughters were hiking through Isdalen, a valley outside Bergen, Norway, locally nicknamed Death Valley for a string of unexplained tragedies stretching back generations. Hidden among the rocks, they found the body of a woman lying on her back, burned across her face and front, though strangely untouched on her back. Nearby lay an umbrella, empty bottles, and a melted plastic container. Investigators initially assumed it might be a simple case of suicide or an accident. What they discovered over the following weeks made that explanation feel almost impossible. The autopsy revealed she died from a combination of carbon monoxide poisoning and an overdose of a powerful barbiturate sleeping pill, meaning she was still alive when the fire started around her. Whether she set that fire herself, or someone else did, has never been determined. Investigators searched for anything that might identify her, and found nothing. Every tag on her clothing had been cut away, not torn carelessly, but sliced with precision, as though by someone trained specifically for this kind of work. A fur hat found near her body wasn't even style typically sold in Norway, it more closely resembled hats worn in Soviet Central Asia. It, too, had no label. 3 days later, police traced 2 suitcases she had left at Bergen's train station. Inside, they found wigs, cosmetics, silver spoons, currency from 4 different countries, a pair of sunglasses, and a tube of prescription eczema cream with the patient's name and doctor's information scratched off entirely. A fingerprint lifted from the sunglasses finally gave investigators something concrete to work with. It matched the body. But it told them nothing about who she actually was. As detectives dug deeper, the case only grew stranger. In the months before her death, the woman had checked into hotels across Norway and Europe under at least 8, possibly 9, different false names: Fenella Lork, Claudia Tielt, Vera Jarl, Elizabeth Lienhauer, and several others. She spoke multiple languages fluently, including French and German, with an accent hotel staff couldn't quite place. Staff described her as reserved, alert, and unusually cautious for an ordinary traveler. She frequently requested room changes. She paid only in cash. After meals, witnesses noticed her quietly wiping down glasses and silverware, removing her own fingerprints as a matter of routine, not panic. Inside one of her suitcases, investigators also found a small notepad filled with a series of handwritten codes. It took time, but codebreakers eventually determined the entries corresponded to dates and locations, allowing police to reconstruct fragments of her movements across the continent in the weeks before she died. What that trail never revealed was a name, a nationality, or a reason for any of it. The specific, deliberate nature of her disguise, the sanded fingerprints, the scratched-off labels, the fluency in multiple languages, the constant vigilance led investigators and journalists alike toward one persistent theory: that she may have been a spy, operating during one of the most active periods of Cold War espionage in Europe. Norway, positioned close to Soviet territory and home to NATO military installations, was considered a genuine hotspot for intelligence activity at the time. Some researchers have speculated she may have been a double agent whose cover was blown, and that her death was made to look like suicide. Others have pointed to witness sightings placing her near sensitive military test sites in the weeks before her death, though nothing conclusive was ever proven. Norwegian intelligence has never officially confirmed or denied any connection to her, which has only fueled decades of speculation that official records may have been deliberately withheld or classified. Not everyone accepts the spy theory, though. Some investigators have argued the elaborate secrecy could just as easily point to something more personal: a woman fleeing an abusive relationship, hiding from creditors, or escaping a criminal past entirely unrelated to espionage. The truth is that Norwegian police at the time, working with the forensic technology of 1970, were simply unequipped to definitively rule any of these theories in or out, and much of that uncertainty has never been resolved since. For decades, the case sat without any real forensic breakthrough. Police at the time even faced accusations of mishandling the original investigation. Some records were reportedly destroyed years later during a routine archive clearance, long before anyone realized how significant they might eventually become. That loss of evidence has made every subsequent attempt to reopen the case considerably harder than it should have been. Then, in 2016, the investigation was formally reopened, using isotope analysis on her teeth and bones, a technique that didn't exist in 1970. Isotope ratios absorbed from food and water during childhood can reveal, with reasonable accuracy, roughly where a person grew up. The results suggested she had likely been raised somewhere in southeastern Germany, possibly near Nuremberg, sometime in the 1930s or 1940s. It was the first genuinely new piece of information about her origins in over 45 years. Even so, a confirmed name has never emerged, and the reopened investigation has since gone quiet again, without any public update in recent years. The case has since become one of the most discussed unsolved mysteries in true crime communities worldwide, the subject of documentaries, podcasts, and countless online forums dedicated entirely to picking apart her coded notepad line by line, hoping some overlooked pattern might finally crack it wide open. The Isdal woman was eventually buried in Melendel Cemetery in Bergen, in a grave marked only with a case number, not a name. To this day, amateur researchers, journalists, and cold case investigators continue combing through the coded notepad, the hotel records, and the isotope data, hoping some overlooked detail might finally reveal who she was. If you were investigating this case, what's your theory? Spy, fugitive, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more real unsolved cases every week. This has been the Cold Case Files. Thanks for watching.